it's Reija, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to do my January comics reading wrap-up, in which I talk about, obviously, all the comics and manga that I read during January. So without further ado, let's get started. The first comic I read in January was Sonny Volume 1 by Taiyou Matsumoto. This is the first volume of a manga series that takes place in the 70s in Japan, and it details the life of a bunch of kids living in a foster home. And the art style is really unique. Taiyou Matsumoto has a really good sense of proportion, and he's exceptionally skilled in architecture. And he has this style that I like to call crude realism, where the characters are kind of exaggerated to make them appear almost hideous looking, but at the same time maintaining that kind of realistic feel. And the whole comic is drawn in pencil and ink, and it is really unique. And it's also really heart-wrenching to read about these kids, how they are still feeling hopeful that their parents will come and get them, while at the same time there are kids living in that foster home who don't have that chance, who are orphaned or who are children of addicts and such. And it was a really heart-wrenching and also heartwarming read, because these kids are trying to cope by adapting and making a family of their own with these kids and adults who are living and residing in this foster home. And it was a really beautiful story, and I gave this one 4.5 stars, and I can't wait to read the next one. And the next comics that I read were the first 3 volumes of Wet Moon. I had all 6 of them borrowed from the library, but I DNF'd the series after the 3rd one. And this series is set in an imaginary town of Wet Moon in the deep south of the United States. And it is about this goth community in that town, and the main character is called Cleo, and the series starts when she is just entering college. And there are also some mysterious happenings going on in the town, with people disappearing and such. But in 3 volumes, Sophie Campbell didn't really do anything with the characters. Like, these characters don't have very distinctive personalities, and also they seem to be really toxic to one another, and I kept wondering why these people are even friends, because their relationships, first of all, don't seem fleshed out, and second of all, they are very thin. Like, these characters only talk about their relationship drama, nothing else gets talked about. And in the 3 volumes, the whole plot with the mystery hadn't really gotten going. Like, the only thing that was happening was the relationship drama. And I was like, okay, I didn't sign up for the relationship drama, because this was sold to me as a kind of gothic mystery. And it really isn't. There is bisexual and lesbian representation in this, but it kind of feels almost fetishistic. The same goes for a character that has, like, who is an amputee. It kind of feels like the comic is reveling in her bodily state. I just really didn't like it all that much, and the one thing that really threw me off was the fact that the art kept changing. Sophie Campbell changed the art and changed the character designs in every single volume. And after the 3rd one I was like, okay, let's check the fourth one. And in the fourth one, the art style changes even more, and I was like, okay, I'm out. And I didn't look back. And I gave Wet Moon Volume 1 2.5 stars, Wet Moon Volume 2 2 stars, and Wet Moon Volume 3 1.5 stars. So this series went downhill for me very fast. Then I read Descender Volume 4 and I loved it. This was a really good continuation for Volume 3. There were really high stakes, the tension levels are up the roof, and it's just a very good continuation. I would have hoped a little bit more character development, especially for the female characters, but well, I'm hoping that in the next volumes this will change, but I gave Descender Volume 4 4.5 stars. Then I read Incal by Jodorowsky and Moebius. I read this in the Finnish edition, and it was okay. I can definitely see that Luc Besson might have gotten some inspiration to Fifth Element from this book. This comic book is about this very haphazard detective who is not very bright, not very talented at his job, and he gets embroiled in this intergalactic space war between light and dark. And it is very farcical, there's a lot of very crude humor in it, and it's also kind of dated. It's very 80s, very 80s. I mean, there's a female character going around topless in a tundra, which is just, yeah. But in any case, I liked it enough. It wasn't like super spectacular, and the story was kind of meandering and didn't really have much of a point in the end. I gave it 3 stars because I enjoyed reading it enough. I would not reread it again, but I'm glad that I did pick it up because I've been wanting to get into more Franco-Belgian comic book authors. And finally, in the month of January, I read The Park Bench by Christophe Chabouté, and this was almost perfection. I did give it 5 stars, but after sitting on it and thinking about it, that 5 stars is with caveats. I love the art. The art is done completely in black and white with ink, and it is gorgeous. It is very realistic. There is no narration, no talk in this comic. It's all about the movement of the characters, silent interactions. It's basically like you are reading a script to a silent movie. And I would actually recommend that you put on some good music while you read this book, because it was really good. It is kind of like a pastiche of human life and human existence. You see everything that's going on this one park bench, the life that's happening around it, people who are coming and going and sitting there and having their interactions with one another. It's really beautiful. My only gripes with the book is that it is a very white life experience, and it is also a very straight experience. So I would have wanted some more diversity in it, but it was beautiful and I highly recommend it. I'm definitely getting it for my own collection. And there you have it. Those were all the comics and manga that I read during January. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!